Let me bang. I do let you bang. Hey, let me bang you, James, man. I let you bang. I let you bang. Greetings, marriage and virgins.
Go for Jesus. No forget Jesus, people.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time once again for your favorite mixed martial arts podcast. Recording out of Los Angeles, California, it's MMA Roasted with Adam Hunter.
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
What's up, people? Welcome to our brand new MMA Roasted Podcast. It's me, Adam Hunter. So I'm recording this on Friday, and it's going to come out on Monday. So the fights are tomorrow, obviously, but I'm working on a cruise ship. So I'm giving you a podcast, but we're not talking about the fights because they already happened. So we don't know what. So just so you know, if you're watching the show, why are you guys mentioning the fights? It's because we haven't seen them yet. I'm here with my man, Sean McCorkle, who is one of the former UFC heavyweight, badass, beat Mark Hunt, and my buddy Aldo. Aldo, you here?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah. For some reason, you're like frozen on me.
Really?
Aldo Juliano. And me and Aldo coach wrestling together. He's one of my best friends in the whole world. I've known him for years. Sean, are you with me?
Yeah, can you hear me? I'm actually two things. One, I'm in Florida, missing the Blue Angels show. That's how committed I am to this podcast. I just got to Florida, stayed up all night driving. I've been up for like 40 hours. But also, what we could do is I could just give you all my bets for what's going to happen this weekend, and then we'll know that the results are opposite. So then we can talk about as they did happen. Because I guarantee you I'm wrong on every single pick. I'm on a streak unlike anything you've ever seen in your life on wrong picks. So.
We're going to talk about that. We only have Aldo for like 10 minutes. Because
I got you. We're good for a half hour.
Oh, good. So Sean, so basically I started coaching wrestling because on Craigslist, they were like looking for a wrestling coach, right? I was here like 15 years ago. I'm like, I can do that. So
normally when you answer looking for a wrestling partner out on Craigslist, it doesn't turn out in the middle.
So I
what he thought it was.
So I like drive down there, and the guy was like, what do you know about the adult wrestling league? And I was like, I don't know what that is. He's like, all right, you're hired. So basically the guy before me who got the job, it was like the adult transgender wrestling league, right? And they wanted to use the mats to have naked wrestling in the school. Can you guys hear me?
There you are. All right, yeah.
So they wanted to have like naked wrestling in the school so the guy was like actual wrestler, but I'm like, I don't know what, basically like you're hired. I'm like, okay, great. So, but I was leaving for like Africa to do a comedy show in Africa for like the military. So like a week after I started coaching, the kids didn't know anything. Like there was the walls weren't padded. The kids were running right into the walls. They were like almost, getting concussions. I'm like, first of all, we got to pad the walls. Or I'm not going to coach here. So I hired my buddy Dixon, who told me he wrestled. I didn't realize he did WWE wrestling, Sean, right?
Oh, okay.
So I come back, and the kids have a match. We lose 64 to like 3, and the kids are all trying like DDTs and fucking like pile drivers. And I'm like, he's like, I didn't teach this. I'm like, dude, come on, man. Like I thought you wrestled. So anyway, I needed another coach. I'm like, dude, this is not good. So me and Aldo, he's like, I used to wrestle. So I'm like, when? He's like, yeah, I wrestled back in high school. I was part of the whole Mark Schultz back at the what's the name of that like league?
Foxcatcher.
Foxcatcher. So I was like, all right. So Aldo comes and he's great. Aldo but he's an old school coach, Sean. Like,
you specify what that means?
So
he's old school in the Joe Paterno.
No. See, that's why I wanted to specify, Brandon. Not in that way.
But, I mean, old school is like middle school kids. Like, hey, coach, my knee hurts. He's like, quit being a pussy. I'm like, Aldo, you can't call kids pussies now anymore. So Aldo also, and this guy is one of the most interesting guys I know. He drives a Harley. He's a comedian, but he used to be a Chippendale dancer. I mean, like a real Chippendale. There's like 3 documentaries on him back in the day, and he also has a scar from here to here. And how did you get that scar, Aldo?
I got jumped by like 12 Puerto Ricans and a black dude back in Philly. cutting through an alley, coming home from one of the shows, and had makeup on that night. You know, we did a shoot, and so I didn't take it off. It made me look better, and I was picking up my girl. So, I'm like hooking down. I used to take the train back to Center City. I used to cut down this alley, did it every night. It was actually a gay neighborhood. I could hear guys go, "Hey, baby," I'm like, "Fuck you." But that night I heard a guy running up behind me, and I had my bag laced on my shoulder. And I didn't look back. I heard him, but I didn't look back. I was just like tired. I'm just walking. And when he ran by, he grabbed my bag, and I had my hand on it. So I pulled it, and I had my leg came up, and it hit his knee. It just him flying this way. He threw a punch, and I kind of grabbed his elbow, tossed him, and I hit him. And I should have just ran. It would have been a great story. I was like, fuck, that's cool. But like an asshole, I stayed there, and like I was kicking the guy's leg, and I'm kicking the other guy. Come on, there's two. Blah, blah, blah. Before I know it, I looked up, they were all around me. And it just went south from there. They hit me. I got 37 stitches here. I lost 3 teeth. And then they clouded me with a metal pipe in the back of my head, which cracked my skull, was the kind of final blow. And I had $286 in my bag in cash that they originally tried to grab, which when I looked over in the hospital, it was right there, and not a dime was missing, which kind of sucked.
Really odd that gay guys were doing a hate crime against you. That's weird.
What's that?
I said it's weird that gay guys were doing a hate crime against you. Like,
well, I don't know if they were gay. It was like a gay neighborhood, you know?
Right.
I hope they weren't gay because I got my ass kicked.
Yeah. I had one of the great stories, not to take over, Adam, but
No, go on.
one time a guy asked me if I'd ever heard of big panties. I was at a Honduran house party. It's a long story, but
sounds better already.
Yeah, I was the only white guy there. And so I'm at a Honduran house party, and this guy goes, "Hey, man, you ever been locked up?" And I was like, "Not officially, like just, whatever." He said, "I figured you'd know about big panties if you had." And I was like, "I don't know what that
panties you're saying? Big?"
Yeah, a guy named Big Panties.
Oh, Big.
And proceeded to tell a story about this guy, Big Panties, who in prison would come up to you, and he would be polite at first and tell you he wants to suck your dick. But if you say no, I guess he's some real big, he doesn't matter what color he was, but he was black, a real big black guy. If you say no, he gets mad and knocks you out, then sucks your dick while you're knocked out. And then when you wake up, you're gay. That's what the guy tells me.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, "Man, that sounds terrible." And he goes, "It's legit." So I kept laughing, saying it was real. He goes, "Ask anyone you know that's been locked up." So I text my buddy that was in prison for like 7 years. I said, "You ever heard of Big Panties?" He goes, "Hell yeah." He goes, "He tried to sucker punch me one time and suck my dick. Luckily, he missed on one of them or something like that. I don't know what it was. Missed the punch, but he still sucked my dick or something like that." And so I hit another guy I know was locked up. I said, "Hey, man, you ever heard of a dude named Big Panties?" He goes, "Dude, you got to watch out. If you're around that dude, watch out." Like, he hits me up right back where it is. He will punch you and suck your dick. He's cool about it first. He'll ask you. But if you say no, he's going to straight knock you out and suck your dick. Then you're gay. Like he said,
the worst.
Funniest thing I ever heard in my life. So, yeah, I was wondering if he wasn't one of the guys up to you. So.
Which is worse, getting knocked out or just having it done?
I don't understand. But how are you gonna get a boner? He sucks your like a flaccid dick. Like
I don't know. I guess if you're knocked out, maybe you don't know. Don't know what I do.
And then you have to be gay after that? Like what?
That's what they tell me. That's what both guys said. Yeah, then you wake up, you're gay. I was like, man, that's a weird way to come out of the closet. Like, how did you know you were gay? Well, this big black dude knocked me out.
Wait, and it was the same jail, or this guy goes from jail to jail?
Oh, he locked up for life for murder or something. So he was from prison to prison. Everyone I know, I've asked like 10 people I know that have been locked up at some point. And there was like, dude, everybody was afraid of him. One guy told me Mike Tyson, even when he was locked up in Indiana, was afraid of him, like stayed away from him because he didn't want him to suck his dick.
Really? Even Tyson was afraid of Big Panties?
Yeah, just stayed away from him because he tried to tell Tyson he wants to suck his dick. He's like, "Nah, man." They say he took a swing at him or something crazy. So I don't know.
Fuck.
Now, Aldo, you were on a TV show with Tyson, right?
What's that? I did a TV show with Mike Tyson. He's the nicest guy I ever met. Really sweetheart. He was funnier than shit.
What was the show?
It was called Truth to Tell the Truth. So you went on. There was 3 people. And one guy, was a true story about him. He got hit by lightning. He got stabbed twice. He got hit by lightning twice, stabbed twice, and shot. And he was still alive. So his story was, "I'm glad to be alive," or something like that. And then there's 2 other people, me and another guy, and we pretend we're him.
Oh,
and
wow.
So we tell the whole story, and we know his whole story, and you keep lying. And what I did, I just lied. The lady went in the audition. She says, "Why do you think you'll be good for this? You know, you think you're a good liar? Why do you think you'll be good for this?" I said, "Shit, I date in LA. I'm the best liar you can find." But
yeah.
But the funniest part about at the break, we were sitting facing like they were there and they couldn't see the scar. So I thought, if they see the scar, they're going to think it's me because he got stabbed, he got hit by lightning. So I turned to the guy next to me. I go, hey, look, I don't have nothing to say to you. I just want them to see my scar.
Oh, wow.
And I hear, as soon as I turned, I hear Tyson go, look, he's the guy. That's the guy. And they all fucking voted for me except one of them. It was funny.
So when I say he's old school, I mean, like, look, Aldo is not racist at all. He doesn't have a racist on his body, right? But he treats everyone equally. But so Aldo, all right, lo and behold, we got a wrestling coach. The coach passed away from cancer. They needed the assistant. They got another guy to coach. The guy had he was banned from coaching in Philadelphia, but no one knew why. And then he was a great coach, but very loud. He had anger issues. Yeah. And he was coaching a JV softball team, women's, and threw a bat and hit her on second. There was a girl on second base. He hit the girl with the bat, so he got fired, right? So then Aldo takes over as the coach of this high school team, right? So lo and behold, there was a white kid named Eric and a black kid named Eric. So Aldo says, all right, we're gonna call that black kid Black Eric, and that'll be white Eric, right? So now everyone's calling the kid Black Eric on the team. So Aldo gets a text from Eric's mom saying, why is my kid being called Black Eric? A long ass, what is this? So Aldo's this is classic Aldo. His go-to emoji is a black thumbs up. And he goes, I understand what you're saying. It'll never happen again. And sends her a black thumbs up. Right?
Well, wait, you gotta explain to him. I spend 25 minutes on the phone with her, smoothing everything over.
Yeah.
Make it fine.
It was listen, Black Mom, I didn't mean anything by that.
But then at the end, I sent her a black thumbs up, not thinking, because I always send that emoji. And she goes, I hope your color's dark because you sent that. And I'm like, huh? She goes, I hope you're dark. Then I meet her at the tournament the next morning at 7 in the morning. She goes, Coach Aldo? I go, yeah. She goes, we got to talk. I'm like,
no. Meanwhile, she became the biggest fan of his because Aldo's the kind of coach. He takes the kids to every tournament. He goes to everything. He comes early, leaves late, makes sure everyone's fed. He's won out of his own money. But he does things that Aldo comes, he's like, yo, man, the school's trying to charge me $10,000. I'm like, why? He's like, well, I had to return the van and there was nowhere to park. So I parked in the handicap spot. Well, I accidentally forgot that I left the van there. So it was there for 2 weeks. So it got $10,000 worth of fucking, and they're trying to take that out of my paycheck. So, he's so funny. Anyway, we're here with Tall Steve.
Man, Aldo was like, that retarded van's not my problem.
So it
was a white van. It was a white van, man.
And then Aldo ended up getting fired from that job because you threatened one of the parents to murder them, right?
No, I just said I'd tear him a new asshole. I didn't say murder him.
Yeah, okay, right. So basically, a kid had his kid on his own program, wasn't part of the team. One of the kids his kid lost to wrestle off, and then the guy got in Aldo's face at a tournament, and he goes, "Hey man, get out of my face, or I want to tear your new asshole." But then the guy recorded him saying that. So then he had to go in front of the whole school district saying, I didn't really want to tear the guy's new asshole. But Eric's mom stood up for you and said, Aldo's an amazing coach and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. They got up and said, she got up and said at the meeting, he said, I haven't met my dad hardly but once. He's been in jail my whole life. Aldo's been like a second father to me. I'm like, oh, shit, man.
Yeah.
Too bad Aldo just didn't give a big panties threat and be like, dude, back up or I'm going to knock you out and suck your dick.
All right, Tall Steve. So Tall Steve is a heavyweight from Bellator who's undefeated, 9-0, right?
Fuck, really? God damn.
He's killing it. Everybody that fights him goes in for a double leg. He knees the guy in the face and knocks him out. This happened, your last 5 fights?
No, just the last 2.
You're killing everybody.
Like 5.
Congratulations. And you're a new dad. What's it like being a dad?
It's the best thing. There's nothing that anybody could have said that would have prepared me for it, but it's the best thing.
Now, I heard your kid came out 3 feet tall. Is this came out of the womb? Okay.
Yeah, Logan Storley was her first sparring partner. So.
That's awesome. So
she was 2 weeks old, and they were already trying to dock her for missing practice. So.
Wait, so how old is she now?
She's coming up on 4 months.
Wow. Nice. Nice. Does she look at you? I mean, she must love you.
Oh, we're homies. We hang out all the time.
Oh,
I mean, mom, don't get me wrong. Mom is mom, especially, now. But
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
She's my little road dog for sure.
Is your wife breastfeeding?
She was at first, but you know how it is. She was it was tough for her.
Why'd you say he knows how it is?
No, dude, my wife would breastfeed and then hand me my daughter, and she would go for my tit, and nothing came out. And she looked at me like I catfished her. Like, she was so fucking pissed. Like,
Damn.
like that happens a lot. She kept going for my nipple, and I was like, dude, what are you? So
No, that didn't happen with me. We went to the bottle pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. Got it. So when's your next fight?
No, it's a week from today.
Wow. And who are you fighting?
Rakeem Cleveland. You ever hear him? He fought all over. He fought PFL. He's been here in the regional circuit.
He's good. He's going to be your biggest challenge.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
He's good. He's good on the ground. He's got power. But he's not tall Steve.
He's not tall Steve.
He looks tall as shit. How tall are you?
I'm 6'8".
Jesus, criminies.
And Sean, what are you?
When I was playing basketball in college, I was 6'7", but in truth, I'm probably 6'6". I always lie to add an inch on in all areas of life. I think didn't he want to fight Jack Swagger, or did I imagine that? I think he called him out, didn't he?
I didn't, no.
You didn't say you wanted to fight him last time and they wouldn't do it or something, but maybe I don't know, I may be confused.
I wouldn't say no.
I didn't think you called him out, but Adam asked who you'd like to fight, and you said you'd love to fight Jack Swagger. But I don't know. Maybe not.
So tomorrow, who do we like tomorrow? Your old training partner in Usman or Colby Covington?
We got Usman there for sure.
How does he win?
I think it'll be probably pretty close to last time. I think Colby's going to give him a pretty stiff challenge. But I think Kamaru it could be a little bit better everywhere, but even more so than last time.
Sean?
I got to agree with him, man. I'll be rooting for Colby because I don't know Kamaru, but I just don't know, man. With how Usman's looked lately, especially against Masvidal, I don't know how anybody beats him right now. I just don't. I think Colby might try to take him down and wrestle a little more, maybe try to wear him down, but Usman's cardio looks as good or even superior to Colby's from what I've seen. So
now, are you mad he left the gym?
No, I understand.
Really? I mean, was it awkward at all?
No, I mean, I think the only thing that was awkward about it was just the perception of it. The perception of it being that everybody on the outside was like, yeah, that's probably awkward. But there's obviously going to be hurt feelings in a situation like that. You have two friends who are like, well, I think I'm the best in the world. And the other guy who's like, well, I think I'm the best in the world. And then, it gets kind of dicey whenever it comes to, especially, there's a paycheck. It's not just the title of being the best, there's, whatever, life-changing money on the line. But, all that factored in, it's like everybody was surprisingly civil about it. And even still, Kamaru comes around from time to time, not like he did before, from time to time, he'll come to the gym once a month or so. We'll see him pop in, he'll hit the bag, or he'll come in and join the drills or something. I've seen Kamaru and Gilbert interact as recent as 2 months ago, and they were cool. So it's about as well as that situation could go, it did. At least in my mind. For all I know, maybe behind closed doors they were, throwing knives at each other or something. Now,
do you do any coaching at all or no, Steve?
I used to teach a kickboxing class and a jiu-jitsu class. I'll run the pro training for the jiu-jitsu from time to time, but that's about the extent of it.
So Aldo, you went from coaching the men's team to now you coach the all-girls team at Santa Monica. Is it easier? Is it harder? Do you like it better?
I never liked girls in the room. I was like, this is bullshit. I always tell the assistant coach, take care. There'd be one or two in the room. And then they asked me 2 years ago to take over at Santa Monica for the girls team. I'm like, I don't know. And then they offered me a lot more money. So I was like, okay, I can handle it. My paycheck said, yeah, okay.
Same there, yeah.
Yeah. But to me, it's been the best thing I've done because it's taught me, I think I've become a way better coach because it's taught me how to handle and teach things without, I was always hands-on. Look, here's how you do it. Now you have to explain it because I'm not going to grab a 98-pound or a 108-pound little girl and go, here's how you do it. I had to learn to vocalize more stuff. And it's made me more visual watching them to give them, instruction more vocally from watching what they do. To me, it's improved my coaching, but it's the mental game is
It's like, what?
I have that little Asian girl who's amazing, and her mental game sucks. And to find, like, with boys, you can, like, oh, come on, you want to get them. With girls, it's not the same thing. You know, they're worried about their opponent half the time. And it's that mental game. I'm still trying to find my way through that minefield of figuring out how to.
Is he freezing on you? Yeah.
I'm used to trying to teach girls how to drop their pants, so it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, I mean, I do find that girls are way harder on themselves than guys are.
Yeah,
like, with guys, you have to build them up. You have to call them almost like check their ego.
Yeah, you have to bring them down. Girls, you have to tell them how great they are. And keep telling them,
in every area of life.
You can use that every fucking thing you say.
Yeah,
that's almost like, and that's what she said.
Yeah, no, it's 100%. But yeah, I had that problem too with girls. But girls are way more technical. Like they want to get the technique perfect.
Yeah,
where guys just want to roughhouse and just be.
What's interesting is I watch you with the girls and boys, and I think like you would be great with an all-girls team just because the way you handle it so good. Like for me, I got to think about it. It seems like it just kind of comes natural to you. Like when you work with that girl, it seems a little more natural to me the way you do it. I watch you when you're doing it. It's kind of interesting, you know.
Well, they're making Aldo take a course, Sean, called How to Talk to Kids in 2021. And I'm
hope it's taught by Chris D'Elia.
Like, look, when a kid came up to me and said, "Oh, coach, my finger hurts," I would tell him, "Yo, just go get some Vagisil." But you're not allowed to say that.
Say that anymore.
You can't say that.
Dude, you know what? In practice on Thursday, he goes, "Hey, ask Coach Adam." This kid comes to me, he goes, "Coach Adam," and I'm teaching a single leg. He goes, "I go what?" He goes, "How do I know if my penis doesn't work where I can't have kids?"
That's what he said to me, though.
Yeah, I was like, go do single legs. Like,
he came up to me, he goes, "Hey, coach, no, ask coach. I'm like, "What? Just ask me. You can ask me anything." The kid goes, "Well, how do I know if my thing's working? Because, you know, if I is it my girlfriend? Or like, can I have kids?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, and his buddy jumps in and goes, "He's not getting excited with his girlfriend anymore. I think he's bored with her." I'm like, the best thing to do is change girlfriends.
Yeah, I was like, this is not. What's up, people? Look, when I gamble, I'm always looking for a way to get an edge. But at my bookie, they double your first deposit. So you start with a leg up. And with your account locked and loaded, you can get in on the UFC 268 action, which features 2 title fights on a stacked card. I can't wait because the tension between Usman and Covington has reached a boiling point. I mean, these guys hate each other. So look for this main event to end quickly and bet the under on total rounds. Don't take my word for it, okay? Head to my bookie and sign up to use promo code MMA Roasted to get your money doubled and start winning today. And remember, people, good friends don't let friends win alone. So have your buddies use the referral link so you're eligible to receive an additional 250% bonus on their first deposit. Plus, it's unlimited to redeem. So all your friends can join the party at MyBookie. Use promo code MMA Roasted. Sign up now, claim your first deposit bonus with MyBookie, and use the extra funds to kickstart your winning season. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Go there now. Dude, so Steve, so Harvard Westlake is they were like our like rival school, right? So they stole Aldo as the coach mid-season. They like poached him.
And like, a lot of money.
So a week later, he didn't pass the background check, but so a week later, I'm like coaching against him, like literally a week later, right? And so during a match, I'm like, do the Aldo double. Like I'm screaming like just to piss him off. Yeah. Dude, then like their coach was a fucking clown. Like he was having their kids lose weight in middle school and he blah blah.
Crazy.
So Aldo comes up to me, he's like, I fucking hate it here. Middle of the match, he hands me Viagra. He goes, use this for your girl later. I'm like, dude, we're in middle school. Like, what the?
Oh man!
Like
those.
I was completely lost. I thought he meant your female wrestler. Like he's not giving him Vagisil, now he's giving Viagra. I'm so confused. Like he just later. I was like, wait, what?
No. He's telling the kids go get Vagisil. Quit being all right.
You don't have coaching girls.
I tell the boys that. I asked him if they got. Coach, my arm's hurt, and I said you probably should go home and have your mom take you to your gynecologist. And half of them don't know what a gynecologist is. So the kid goes, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, I know I'm going to get in trouble for that one in a month. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a coach tell me one time. I mean, you can't get away with this now for sure, but he's like something along the lines of like, we're going to have to dry off your panties and get ready to wrestle, Steve, or something like that.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was like, all right, whatever. But like, if I said that now, I'd probably get,
No, we
I'd probably have to do time.
We had a coach, the guy Steve. He was like, "Listen, if you don't like it, cheerleading's next door." Like he would always say that. Like, but like you can't say that now because people are like want to be cheerleaders. They're like, hey,
dudes are like, "Oh, really?" I knew I walked into the wrong room.
Dude, these two kids came in from the water. I'm like, "You guys done making out?" And everyone would laugh, but I'm like, I could get in trouble for saying that. Like, it's just like, come on.
And he paints his nails. Did you see they were pink? I didn't want to say anything Wednesday. They were pink Wednesday. Yeah. Like the black I could deal with. The pink scares me a little bit.
It's funny though, because sometimes kids set me up. Like this little kid on the team, a little black kid, I was like, yo, so do you have a girlfriend? He's like, man. He goes, black girls are too much drama. I was like, dude, all girls are too much drama. It has nothing to do with, with them,
right.
So Steve, we're a week out. You're heavyweight. You don't have to lose weight. You're feeling good, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, do you have?
What do you weigh? What's he weigh?
Like the high 240s right now. I'll probably be a little bit lighter for the fight, like mid 240s.
Do you have any rituals before the fights? Like you have to do this a certain way, or you have to eat a certain thing, you have to wear a certain thing?
Nope. I used to have a lot, but like I've made it a point to like kind of break that, especially getting closer to the fight. And I mean, there's certain things I do, but they're not like ritualistic. They're more like I get coached to do them, and like now it's just a part of the routine.
Have you ever had a fight where you got no sleep and you're just like, oh no? Like
before my first fight in Bellator, I slept like shit. Like I woke up probably like 3 or 4 times during the night. And I wasn't like tossing or turning, but I kept waking up. And before a fight, that's the last thing you're gonna be. Fuck, did I get enough sleep? Am I gonna burn out? Am I gonna this? Am I gonna that?
Sean, you?
Yeah, when I fought, they made me the co-main event at UFC 124 in my second UFC fight, and it's a GSP pay-per-view. And I did not sleep literally more than an hour a night for 5 nights straight leading up to that fight. I was just stressed, too much media. My panties weren't dry, things like that.
The worst.
Yeah, you can't say that.
But it's it was terrible, man. I was shaking, and not out of nervousness. I was like from muscle fatigue when I was warming up, and I told my coach, I said, this is not going to go well. Then I beat Struve up for about 3 minutes and completely gassed out. So,
that's his training partner, by the way.
Yeah, Struve and I were for a long time. I was like kind of his like de facto jiu-jitsu coach for a minute there.
He's a really good guy, man. Actually, I got a hold of him. I got a hold of his agent ahead of time and said, hey, I want to build this fight up because I want to have the television portion to get, like sponsorship money. His coach, like, he's not like that. And I was like, well, that's why he's 7 foot tall and no one's ever heard of him. He's fought 7 times. But I said, I'm going to do it either way. So no offense, just tell him it's not personal, but I'm going to do it either way. So I just start trashing him. I mean, mercilessly, day after day after day. I was saying, just ridiculous. You'd have to look it up. It's so offensive, the ridiculous stuff I was saying about him. And then he refused to say anything back. So then I started saying, there's no way he would stay this quiet to my face, like things that don't matter. You know what I mean? Like, or don't even make sense. I just kept after him and after him. I said that he said he's going to submit me at one point. I said, dude, you couldn't make a Korean wife submit. Like, it was Twitter every day back and forth. And he did a Photoshop.
More things that you couldn't get away with saying now.
Yeah, I actually got – the UFC released me, but they told me a few weeks before they released me that Joe Silva asked me to stop saying racist stuff on Twitter. And because I put on there's 2 things I hate, racism and interracial dating. Like, it was one of my jokes. They were getting –
the powers that be try to have you guys fight a little more, like as an outsider looking in. Some of the pre-fight jabs that go on, do your bosses kind of push you to do that, or is that just kind of coming from you guys?
In the UFC, they don't, man. They let you do whatever you want, or they would let me do to a degree. And when I did my I had dreamed for years of doing a UFC pay-per-view, like, little trash talking thing. So the first one I did was I said, don't plan on seeing Stefan Struve on Mowry Povich anytime soon, because after tonight he'll know exactly who his dad is. I said, and Sean McCorkle, you are the father, like that. And he was like, guy said, nope, can't do that. And I was like, why? He goes, let's try. Hey, I want to twist his arm and break it. I was like, dude, I don't really want to say your lines. He kept feeding me lines. He goes, well, let's just get a screen test, see how it sounds. I was like, I'd really rather not, because I knew he was going to use them. So he told me one was racist, even though me and Struve were white, because I said that he wouldn't let me use that one. I said, well, how about this? My son's really excited here. He's going to have a new brother because I'm about to make Stephen Struve my son. And they were like, no, that sounds racist. I'm like, what? The guy's like, hey, say you're going to end his career. How about that? And I'm like, dude, that sounds like you need a different job, because his ideas were the worst. But yeah, he kept giving me terrible. But yeah.
I mean, Steven, you don't talk any trash talk, right?
I mean, he would to me, but that's like, it was very rarely fight related. It was like, it was almost never had, because he's my boy, I mean, like, just shit that you would say to your friends. Like,
no, I'm saying, well, for your fights, you don't get in people's heads. It doesn't seem like you don't let it, right?
No, I don't. I mean, I'm going to fight you. That's how I feel.
So Bellator or neither division, they don't talk to you and say, let's pump this up a little more by trash talk.
And if they did, I'd be like, bro, I'm going to fight him. Like,
yeah.
I just feel like sometimes it sells the fight a little more. And
Sure. And I don't know, but I feel like the people that are really good at it, it's either like part of who they are, like a very small percentage of them is like who they are. And the people like the majority practice it and practice it and practice it. And I mean, I don't know so like Conor McGregor would be a guy that you could tell is well practiced at it. Chael is a guy that's well practiced at it. Me, I'm just like, bro, we're going to fight. We're just going to fight. I don't know. I would tell anybody like, yeah, I'm going to give him the worst beating of his life. But that's not me like being a dick. I would tell you like, yeah, he seems like a nice guy, but it's like, I'm going to go in there and try to commit a heinous act of violence on this dude. And then I'll probably be cool with him when it's over,
What did you think of Colby saying like about Usman's father being in jail? Like,
he's an asshole, dude. It's like, but Colby's a guy where it's very clearly manufactured. But not only it's like Conor was like, he was always on. Everything he said was like lightning, the press conference, we're still saying who the fuck is that guy, We're still saying that. And that was that press conference happened like what, 6 years ago or something like that?
Right.
So it was
who was that guy?
Even though Conor got to Conor kind of like devolved to the point where he became a parody of himself, but it wasn't because, or rather it's not because the trash talk is bad or because it's offensive. It's because he hasn't performed to the level where his trash talk, carries a certain weight. With Colby, it was always he was always just saying things that were like, dude, there's no taste, there's no class. That wasn't especially thoughtful. Even the times that it was like, oh shit, that was funny. It was always like, it had a really, even for fighting, it was like, dude, that was kind of mean spirited. I don't know why you would say that.
I mean,
remember the Matt Hughes thing?
Oh, that was ridiculous. I mean,
that was awful. It was like, dude, that's not funny. That's like Matt Hughes, his character. I mean, Sean, and it's funny that we have Sean on the podcast because I read your thing about Matt Hughes.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did. But that's what I'm saying. It was like, okay, it's like, hey, you can say what you want about the dude, and like, if I read what Sean said, and I've heard conflicting reports, so. His character, be it what it may, it's like you don't got to kick the guy while he's down. Like, goddamn,
he was train,
right?
Aldo, and then Colby, after he won the fight, he goes, "Get off the rails."
He told Robbie Lawler, he said something like he didn't tell his buddy. He should have told his buddy like Matt Hughes, get off the tracks or whatever.
Yeah, when the train.
So look, I don't. Like I said, I've read what everybody had to say about Matt Hughes, but it's like, okay, man, even I know, like, you don't kick the guy when he's down.
And the guy was like a vegetable. The guy, like, literally, you could see the guy was like, not the same guy. It was like,
he's still not from what I've read. So, like I said, it doesn't matter the kind of dude he is, and you can think whatever you want. It's like it's just not funny or not even especially like meaningful. The whole the Khabib thing where he was.
Here's the issue with Colby. That like the problem is that I could see like yesterday at the press conference, and it wasn't the first time he brought up Usman's dad. But yesterday he goes, Usman said, if I was Colby's dad, I'd be ashamed of him doing this character. So Colby could have went the other route, but he never. He goes, oh, well, your father's in fucking jail and blah, blah, and blah blah blah, and he owes money for taxes and all this other shit, and you're like, but he'll say, well, why do you bring up my dad? Like, that's what in Colby's mind, it's like, well, you fucked with me, so I'm going to fuck with you. And I understand that mentality. I understand it. And I like Colby a lot. He is my friend. I just think that it's not needed. Like, the people that you're going to get to, like, side with you because of that kind of shit, you almost don't even want. And, and
I feel like family should be off limits anyway. I'm not fighting your family. I'm fighting you.
Yeah. Wives, and to me, wives and kids are always
kids, and family
should be off limits.
But Colby's looking for any kind of advantage right now, and I understand why. I mean, look, he's Usman is one of those dudes that is I wouldn't say he's the best ever, but he's a special fighter.
Right.
And if it wasn't for Usman, Colby would probably be the champion right now. So he's got a big task in front of him. Now, would he be because I think Colby would have beaten Robbie Lawler at 170 on any day. Even at Robbie's best, I think he would have beaten him. And he was a champion. I think Colby would have beaten Woodley when he was a champion. Usman's a different guy. Would he have beaten GSP at 170? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't know. I mean, we'll never know, right? But what sucks, Aldo, is that once in a while you get those guys in your weight class.
Yeah.
Like, Daniel Cormier gets, what's his name? Cale Sanderson.
Cale Sanderson.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Where it's
not going to beat him. Yeah.
He lost to him by 2 points.
Yeah.
I mean, he just has the best guy in the world in his fucking weight class.
Right.
Unfortunately, and I kind of, in some ways, I want Colby to win tomorrow because I like Colby, but I also want to hear his speech because if he wins, oh my God, could you imagine the fucking speech?
Is he fighting the dude that you said that is the toughest one for him?
The toughest one. I don't know where Colby beats him. Like, I don't know. Maybe jiu-jitsu, he can beat him if he catches him in a sub. Wrestling, they're pretty much even. I mean, Colby's a two-time All-American, but Usman was almost an Olympian. He trained at the Olympic Training Center. Striking, got to give to Usman. Stamina, maybe Colby. Power, Usman.
Yeah, for sure.
They're so evenly matched.
I think that if you were you're talking about who they are as athletic specimen, I just think Kamaru is a little bit farther ahead there. Not even particularly because of his natural gifts, because Kamaru has found a way to maximize every gift that he has. And it's not that Colby hasn't. I just think that Kamaru is really at a place now, or even we've seen it, I think it started, this trend started 4 years ago for him, but he's really at a point now where he's just maxed out every advantage he has. And it's not that Colby's not good. I'm with you. He probably would be champion if it wasn't for Kamaru. But it's just even for Colby at his best, I don't think he can touch where Kamaru's at. And even so, and it's kind of like you said, I don't know. I haven't trained with Kamaru. I haven't rolled with Kamaru in 6 years. I haven't trained with him in 2 years. I haven't trained with Colby ever. But we could say in this hypothetical vacuum, okay, well, if they're doing jiu-jitsu, maybe Colby's better. Sure. But you remove that hypothetical vacuum, and it's okay, but does Colby get Kamaru down? Probably not. If he does get him down, does he hold him down long enough to execute some sort of submission game? No. I think him holding him down is even less likely than him getting him down, which is still a tall order. So
I mean, Steve, Sean. So this comes out Monday. So this podcast, because people are gonna say you're right or you're wrong. Now,
I can't wait.
He switched camps, right? Because I said in the Masvidal fight, why did Masvidal have his hands down against Usman? Because this guy obviously didn't respect his power. Colby said that an American top team, his coaches said, you got to watch out for Usman's wrestling, so you keep your hands low. And that's what Colby did in the first fight. He also says he switched camps. He's got better training now. He's got better guys. He's at a guys. It's all about him at that MMA Masters versus ATT. He'd go in there. He'd curse off Dustin Poirier. He's fighting with Masvidal. He's kind of people. Matt Brown is probably rolling his eyes. Mako's probably got what the fuck. He's got all this other drama shit going on. The Brazilians hate him. The fucking the Russians he's talking shit about. So he's got all that drama is gone. So he also said. in his first fight, he was poisoned. He said the UFC, or he like drank a water the night before, and someone said, "Don't drink that, Colby." And he said, "No, I'm good." And then the next day he had food poisoning and he had 103 fever. And he was shivering all night. Like, what are your thoughts on any of this? McCorkle?
Here's the thing. I think when you hit that level, that all those little mental tweaks make a difference, you know? Yeah. Like every little mental tweak that becomes, because they're both pretty physically matched from what you're saying, right? So then it becomes a mental game. So if he is having all that drama, that's going to definitely fuck up his game. And then I feel like at that level, it's just a matter of who makes the first mistake, no?
Steve, thoughts?
Michael Jordan won the fourth game of a series with food poisoning. And I don't know if you ever had food poisoning. But I can't really put my finger on any disease I've ever had that's harder to perform under than food poisoning. Yeah. So, no, fuck that. I hate here. It's like, well, if it were that bad, you shouldn't have competed. And that's my thing. It's like, okay, well, if you're that sick to where like your life was in danger, then okay, well, like there was no shame in pulling out. It just sounds pathetic, you know. Like, okay, well, either you want to fight or you don't.
Sean, thoughts?
Take it from me. I've poisoned a few of my opponents, and it didn't really help as much. But no, Steve is 100% right. Really, Usman's just a better athlete, man, and not just because he's black. For what you guys are obviously thinking. But no, he's just a better athlete. His striking with Trevor Whitman's getting amazing. I mean, dude, he knocked out Masvidal. That's no joke. You know what I mean? And to outstruck him. And I would like to see Colby win, more or less, just to see what he had to say after. It'd probably be really bad. I mean, I know the whole Matt Hughes thing, real quickly, I did that as a troll, just joking, writing a review of his book. I mean, his book was horrendous, but I did it when I wasn't even fighting. I only had a couple fights. Nobody knew who I was. Yeah. And I came the next day, and it had been read 750,000 times. It was linked to every website. And I was like, oh, this might be a problem, especially the parts I made up, you know? And then when I heard Matt Hughes, the whole thing with the train, people were like, hey, ain't that great? Like saying to me, I was like, dude, what is wrong with you? That's terrible. Like, the guy wrote a terrible book. That doesn't mean he should be you know what I mean? Like a vegetable, you know what I mean?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Even if everything you said about him was twice as bad as you had laid it out, it's like, okay, well, I still like not going to attack him after a fucking, like a tragedy. Like,
I think if Colby could learn a little bit what Conor McGregor does, like being gracious in defeat, and then like even
and then talking shit right after. But that's funny. That's like that's what makes it so fun. Is it's like, okay, you got that much humility from him, and that he's, your wife's in my DMs. It's like, okay, well, that's funny.
Yeah, I guess I meant gracious in victory, not defeat. He's pretty bad in defeat, but in victory, never. Yeah, like when Conor beat someone, he's not talking about talking about their wife and things like that. But I think Colby, he could stand to back off a little bit, because when he wins, then he tells you how much you suck during the fight, and he told you it was going to happen, and it's just like it need a little moderation from time to time, man. Because then I can't even be offended. He offends me on like a weekly basis. Like not offends me, but I'm like, holy crap, did he really just say that? Like like on some of the stuff he says, man, it's just like.
What's crazy though is that like when my buddy his kid fell off the jungle gym basically, and like cracked his head, had like a brain hemorrhage almost. Like he's okay. He's a big Colby fan. So I texted Colby, we make a video, tell him okay. 3 minutes later, is a video. Hey man, hope you're okay. This is Colby coming to keep your head up. You're a champion. Like when my mom passed away, he texted me, hey man, hope you're like, he's actually like, for what I know him, he's a good dude. And he told me that he learned this WWE type character, as that's a way to go out. And I had him on the podcast, keep it going. I just don't think he doesn't know the line. It's almost like a brand new comedian that doesn't know that like offending everyone isn't really good. Not like having everyone walk out of the room. Like you think you're making a statement, but like people paid to come. So
what if they're offended because your comedy's so terrible, like Brendan Schaub? Not anything to say. It's just they're offended. They bought a ticket. That's it.
I mean, so I understand it on different levels. There was something else about. So like, for example, the transgender fighter right now. There's a transgender fighter who won his first fight. Her first fight, right? She trains at Colby's gym. Like
I didn't know that.
Like they're teammates. I think her name is Aline. What is it? McSomething. I forgot that.
Something like that.
Yeah, like he probably has no issue with it. I would assume like he didn't say anything about like he's probably I mean, from what I know, he's a different person. He just ranks it up because he thinks it's funny. But that's a slippery slope though, because you know, like when he loses, all of a sudden it's like black fighter knocked out Aryan poster boy, white nationalist fighter, and it's like no. That's not who Colby is.
Right.
But he's being put in these categories. It's like,
I hate to do this. I got to roll.
All right.
I got to get in a knife fight.
You're doing your movie?
Yeah. So I'm in a knife fight. So I gotta roll. I had a great time. You guys are fucking great to listen to.
Aldo, you're the
learn
best,
a lot.
brother.
I appreciate it. You guys have a good day.
Take care.
See you, man.
I mean, that's not how I would want to do it, but I mean, he probably is just like, fuck it, right? He's making more money than he did. He was making not that much money when he was being himself. And, I mean, what do you think, Steve?
So look, obviously you know him. So I feel out of turn speaking on his actual character.
Yeah.
But like, it's just that for me though, based on like, the dude alienated himself out of one of the most like diverse and accepting gyms like in MMA today. So I can't help but feel like, okay, so like I don't believe everything is been spelled out for me. You know, you have to. Somebody told me, the same coach that told me dry out my wet panties and all that, told me one time, believe none of what you hear and half of what you see, and you'll do pretty good in this world.
Right.
And I think that, not that I know any better than anybody else, but based on like, okay, well, so then there's he's beefing with Dustin Poirier, now Jorge Masvidal, and then he's not paying his coaches. And it's like, okay, well, like this, even if you did have to manufacture the character that we all see, it's like, well, okay, well, who's the real character? Who is this real guy? Because it's like, okay, well, like it has to be coming from somewhere. And so like, you hear all the time about dudes who like, you know, their persona is portrayed one way, but like you hear like, okay, but behind closed doors he pays for meals. And it's, even with Colby, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm sure he's a halfway decent dude, but I do tend to get into a place whenever I hear about him where I'm like, well, I don't know, it's not coming from nowhere either. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Right. Like with Chael, like he offered to pay for King Mo's surgery.
So Chael is a prime example of like, yeah, he's an asshole to the dude that he fights, but like I've never heard of anybody say anything bad about Chael.
Nice.
I heard Michael Bisping is like absolutely one of the coolest dudes people have ever trained with.
Nicest guy. Both of them are just like quality human beings. Like there are guys that
I've heard that from many, many, many people. Like Pat Cummins, whenever he was getting ready to fight Daniel Cormier, had a lot of negative light shined on him. Pat Cummins is one of my all-time favorite people that I ever met.
How's he doing, Pat Cummins?
He's retired now. He just picked up spearfishing or diving or one of those.
Dude, I met him when he was like going to jail for a year. He was living at Mayhem's house, and him and his buddy went to like Penn State and like raided a bunch of dorm rooms.
Yeah, he told me about that.
Ended up going to jail for a year, but it was like a weekend jail or something. It wasn't like prison. It was like they had to like check in. It was like a week. It was crazy. And then he was trying to get a fight. He was 5-0, and he called out DC. And I'm like, but he was a guy that his career was like so up and down.
Yeah,
you know, so up and down.
He had a win over Jan Blachowicz like right before Jan had his resurgence.
Right.
I think he might have been like the last dude that Jan lost to before he cracked it big again.
That's true. How's Anthony Johnson doing?
I mean, I haven't seen him. I checked in with him a handful of times. I mean, I think he's recovering from. He had an illness, but I guess he's coming back. Other than that, though,
I don't know what happened.
He didn't really get into details with me, but I know he's on the upswing now, which is good.
And now is Rashad boxing? Have you talked to him?
I don't know. I talked to him, but I don't know.
He keep calling out Logan Paul. He wanted to box him and this and that. Like, yeah.
Good for it. I mean, I stand behind pretty much anything Rashad does. Rashad's the man. So.
Nicest guy ever.
Yeah.
Nicest dude ever. Loves mushrooms. He's a big fan of mushrooms now.
Yeah, he had a big like spiritual awakening a few years ago, and I went with him to his last fight. I was like not in his corner, but I was there with him the whole week. He was getting ready to fight Anthony Smith, and I was, helping him out. And had a lot of time to, sit down and pick his brain. And, man, he's dope. He's really cool. And it was really cool to, like, sit down. And this was right before, like, psychedelics had their, the big revolution that we're seeing with them now. Now psychedelics, the mushrooms, LSD, MDMA, that DMT, they're showing not just to have big therapeutic, like just healing quality, but big therapeutic qualities as well. And I got to hear it firsthand from him right whenever it was first coming out. And he was like, Rashad's a cool dude. I wish whatever Rashad puts his hand to, I hope he's super successful. 100%.
Me and Rashad, we get into fights like brothers sometimes, and he gets mad at me, and then like he won't pick up the phone, and then I call him up, and he's like my guy. Like I love that dude.
No, he's a cool dude.
Now Chandler, how's he looking for tomorrow?
Oh, he's a beast, man. He's a savage.
So McCorkle was on an 0 for like 90. Like before he had an MMA podcast, he was getting them all right. And now, since he started watching fights, he's just been. So who are you picking for tomorrow?
I've been trying to do the George Costanza, choose the opposite of my instincts, so I'll be right. So I think Gaethje will win, which means Chandler should win. But because I'll bet on Chandler, then Gaethje will probably win. That's my guess. So I'm probably going to put my money on Chandler because I think Gaethje's going to win.
Oh, just tell me who you think is actually going to win. Who do you act? Because this is all too confusing.
I think, and I'll lose money. That's what I think.
You think Chandler's going to win? You think Gaethje's going to win?
Yeah. Then I think I'll bet on Chandler. So.
All right. So why is he wrong, Steve?
Gaethje's an animal, first and foremost. But I think where we've seen Gaethje struggle is where Chandler's strong. He opens faster. He stays more consistent down the stretch. And I think Justin Gaethje is like one of the best dudes to have ever done it. Even when he was on the regional circuit, it was like, but man, I'd love to see him versus a top 5 guy. And now that he's fighting top 5 guys, it's such a fucking treat. But no, Chandler. I'm going Kamaru Chandler. I'm going Rose. I'm going. Who else is on? The featherweights? Shane Burgos versus Quarantillo.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. This is a good card.
Edgar Vera. So are we going Rose or Zhang? Sean.
Rose. She's unreal, man. She beats people I never thought she'd even be in there with. She always surprises me. So.
I'm going Zhang. I think she's been training wrestling with Cejudo.
Yeah.
I think that I think she got caught. I didn't think that she could get caught. She didn't think she'd get caught. Now she knows. And
that's going to be hard for her to go against like someone as small as Cejudo and move up to somebody as big as Rose.
Frankie Edgar versus Marlon Vera. Steve.
That's a tough one. Frankie Edgar.
Sean?
I'm going to go Vera because, I would want to bet Edgar, so I'll go Vera.
I feel like it's like un-American to vote against Edgar. Like if Edgar was fighting Ngannou, I'd be like Edgar. I just
Edgar.
for some reason, it's like I have to pick him. I just can't. Bobby Green, Al Iaquinta.
No, that's a good fight. Al.
I think Al not easily, but Al will beat him thoroughly, let's say.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Steve, how did you get along with Luke Rockhold?
How do I get along with him?
Yeah.
Wow. Man, I have to go. I didn't know it was that late. We are not particularly close, but we're friendly.
I like Luke. He's just
Luke picks on. If I'm gonna just put it out there. I mean, I figure we all live and die, and even if Luke did watch this, I'm sure he'd agree. Luke picks on me a lot. Whenever Luke showed up at the gym, for whatever reason, I was the guy that he was just like, you. And like, he's constantly on me about if I'm doing, there's nothing I could do right. He always feels like I'd be a little bit better at this, a little bit better at that, a little bit more athletic, a little bit better cardio, a little bit more relaxed. He's always got something to say, and it's always about me. And I've always felt like that. And it's always pissed me off. But I appreciate Luke because that like piss me off just enough to make me want to do better has always brought it out of me, whether he realized it or not.
I mean, but he's just doing that to be a dick or because he likes you? I mean, if he didn't like you, he wouldn't care, right?
You would say that, but it's also like, okay, Luke, like, do you want to contribute to the Steve Fund? Like, do you want to sit down and go over actual technique with me? Do you want to sit down and have like a heart-to-heart chat? Do you want to, and it's like, I'm not asking you to make an investment, but like, Henry is a good case. My coach, Henry, is a prime example of how, like, man, Henry and I have butted heads many, many, many a times. And Henry's put me down. He's said some shit to me over the years and really made me be like, you know what, man? But I know it comes from the right place, because for every one time that he said something that I thought was shitty or off base or wasn't productive, he said like 5 things to me where I'm like, oh man, he does care, or he's done something where I'm like, well, if the dude didn't like me, he wouldn't have blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I mean, I'm close to Henry now. Like, I know his wife, I know his kid, I know, like, he's taken me places, he's done things with me, he's shown me shit. With Luke, my thing has always been just like, okay, well, dude, like, if this is coming from a place of generosity or kindness, like, you could go ahead and contribute to that. Otherwise, you know, I mean, if I just pointed out something to you all, Adam, I thought that joke could have been funnier. Adam, I thought your podcast you should have done it 20 minutes longer, 20 minutes short. It's like, well, fuck, dude, do you have something to contribute, or are you just going to talk? You know?
Yeah, I understand, but he's also, I mean, so what is he selling? Like, he's
right.
Like,
but more to your point, I appreciate Luke though, because whether he realizes it or not, and I think he does, the fact that he has something to say means that he cares enough to say it.
I mean, right? I would think that. I mean, otherwise,
in a whole room full of dudes where he could pick apart whatever.
Yeah.
He found time to say something to me, and that doesn't always mean it doesn't always mean that in the moment it's productive, but I can appreciate that.
What would he say? Things like, "Hey, man, your jab's too slow," or like something like that.
He'd be like, you need to relax. You're stiff. You're slow. You're this. And I'd be, I'd win a fight, and he'd be like, yeah, you look really good. Or we'd roll, and he'd be like, yeah, that was my best round today. Or we'd spar, and he'd be like, yeah, you were looking slick. But for every one comment like that, he would say, you're too stiff. You need to relax your shoulders. You need to jog more. You need to, and I'd be like, well, fuck, Luke.
I mean, Sean, was there anybody like that with you at your gym?
I don't know. They were all a little bit afraid of me, not because I was a good fighter, but because they knew I might shoot them too if they pushed me too far. But, yeah, I was unstable for a little while. But no, Tom Erickson could hurt feelings really easily because I cared what he thought about me, you know? And it wasn't even necessarily that I was sensitive. I do think, and I mean, I wasn't there, but word was around the way that Cormier and Kane were merciless to Luke when he was coming up, you know, as far as like hazing him, you know what I mean, just on his ass all the time, you know, or whatever. So it may be something that if it worked for him, he's going to try to do that for someone else. But a lot of people, I played basketball in college, and people didn't understand. Not everybody's motivated by the same thing. You know what I mean? If you tell me I did something good, I'm going to be far more motivated if you tell me what an idiot I am for forgetting to set a screen or something like that. That just makes me want to punch you in the face, like, you know, or whatever. Like, it doesn't. Some people try to motivate people the way they want to be motivated, and that's not always the best way with people. You know? Well,
it's just crazy that Luke would go all the way to like Florida to find a guy who's like 8-0, who's not in his weight class, to like.
When I met Luke, I was still an amateur.
Oh,
that's what made it even. Right. So that's what made it. That's what makes it even more kind of like interesting. The dynamic there's more curry for the gumbo there, right? Like, well, damn, Luke. Like, here was me, 0-0, and the first time I met him, I walked up to him, Luke. Wow, like, and this is after Luke. You know, he was. I'm trying to think. Like, I think the first thing I said to him was like, yo, that check hook, the back take you did on Machito was the nastiest shit I'd ever seen. And it's because, you know, fucking it was. But that's what drove me nuts about it, because it was like from then on, it was every time he saw me, he was like, he caught me in a guillotine one time. So it was the first roll of the day. I hadn't even warmed up yet. And he's like, all right, let's go. I'm like, okay. So we're rolling, and he catches me in a guillotine, and I was like, fuck. And that's Luke's like signature move. And he posted on Instagram, right? And he posted on Instagram, he tags me in it, and he sends me this message like, got you. And I was like, you're a fucking asshole. But then not only did I see that he followed me, I gained like 600 followers from him.
Yeah, I think that's his way of like, some guys are like that, man. Like if they're dicks to you, especially comics, it means they like you.
Right.
He actually saw you. He's a good-looking kid, good-looking guy. Obviously, you guys kind of look alike, sort of in a weird way. Like he probably saw a lot of himself in you.
Maybe.
Luke wasn't a prodigy. You know, he was a guy that was like good at everything, sort of like that. You are in that same boat where you're good at everything. You came up being good at everything, but not being great at anything. Eventually, now you are great at everything. But so I could see why.
Adam, dude, if you want to go on a date, you can just say
no.
that.
But we
can leave the girls at home and we can just go on a date.
I could see why he would take to you. At the same time, he has a weird personality. Yeah. He got mad at me he was on the podcast last week, and I called him, hey man, thanks for being on the show, man. Like, he goes, dude, I love the show. Just don't ever call me boring again. And I thought he was kidding. I'm like, oh, you're funny. He's like, no, I'm serious. I'm not boring. I'm like, okay. Like all the things I said to you, like that, you got upset.
That's what you got, huh?
Yeah. Like, so I think that like, he's just kind of a guy who just he's just he's wired a little differently. But I do think he means well. And
I do too. I really do. I do think he means well. And that's why I wouldn't say that I don't like him. That's why I say like we're not close, but we're friendly. And it's because I'm like we've had plenty. So like Sean said, I'd heard the same thing. I heard that Mike Swift, Kane, Cormier, all those Koscheck, I heard they were like ruthless to him. Like, why haven't you made it yet? You're so good at everything. Why haven't you got signed yet? On his way up, that he like just developed such a chip on his shoulder that it never quite went away. So that by the time he got to me, and I was like, "What's up, Luke? Like, you're the fucking man." And Luke was like, "Nah, fuck you." He's like, "I got to give it back to somebody now."
Were you there when Mitrione got in a fight with Overeem?
No, but I think I'd heard about that. I heard a bunch of people beefing with Overeem. Like, I've heard so many different Overeem stories. It's unreal.
Yeah, Rashad and them couldn't stand him. Rashad. I've heard so many. Rashad has a really funny Overeem. Yeah, they all hated. I guess Overeem came to the gym and then did his own gym in the gym.
Yeah, he hired his own training staff. They were paying him to go there. That was a crazy thing. So they were paying Overeem to train there, like a lot. So he used this really healthy sum to hire his own training staff and do his own sessions. He would like cherry pick the guys he wanted to train with every day. So it was like, well, hey dude, like you can't come into the gym that we train you to be at and then take away half the partners whenever you feel like. And I'd heard and we're talking like tip of the iceberg stuff.
Yeah.
So
I trained with him one time, and I said, all I want is his supplement regime. You know what I mean, Reggie? Whatever he's taken, or can I just have his urine sample after the fight and drink it or something? Because he was on the best program of anyone. I mean, he's got good genetics, but that must have been a phenomenal program he was on.
Hey, so you train with him too, Sean?
No, I'm just saying they asked me if I want to go down to Miami and train. I was like, do I want to go down and train with a guy who's going to throw live knees when we're just supposed to be wrestling? No, thank you. Like, I'm not. They brought Tom Erickson down to wrestle with him, and he hit Erickson, broke his rib with a knee when they were wrestling on purpose, threw a knee in the clinch. So Erickson shot a real heavy, double and headbutted him, and they said Overeem was out for like 10 minutes, knocked out from a headbutt of Erickson. And I was like, you do it on purpose? He goes, I didn't try to not hit him with my head after he broke my rib. He goes, he said if he wanted to play that game, but you don't play like that with Tom Erickson. He'll tell you what. He'll make you his son for real. That dude ain't no joke, man.
They were telling me that, like, just because they didn't like him and they knew it would fuck with him, they would go up to him and they'd be like, hey, Alistair, man, you're looking kind of lean. You're losing weight. And he'd be like,
I heard the same. I heard he'd freak out and go inject some juice right then. Like, no way, I'm getting.
So I don't know. But I've heard that I know people that are close to him, too, that like him. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think he also has been humbled a lot. You know,
maybe.
Unfortunately for him, I mean, some of those like that uppercut that what's the name hit him with that rose the streak that with that. Yeah. Oh my God!
He like sailed across the cage with that overhand. And,
oh man, that was rough. So Gian Vellante says he's retiring after this fight coming up. I feel like he kind of checked out a couple fights. He came in.
Yeah.
Like
as soon as he went up to heavyweight, I was like.
He came in like pregnant. It's like, what?
He looked off. He did not look very good.
Are there any girls in the Black Zillions?
No.
How come you have no girls in your gym?
It was just, I think it's just one of those things where like there were no girls there to be. We've had girls come and go, I should say.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's just one of those things where it's like, well, there's no girls there to begin with, so nobody ever decided to come around.
So they go to that makes sense.
Aldo said it best earlier. Black girls are just too much drama. So maybe
that's great. That's great. Well, listen, your kid is adorable.
Yeah, she had to make it. She was crying while we were on the podcast.
She's so happy now, and she's got a great dad. I'm going to be tuning in next Saturday to watch your fight against Cleveland on Showtime, right? Are you on the main card now, at least?
I'm the first fight on the main card with that. So I did a media call last week, and they were like, how does it feel to be in your main card debut? And I was like, well, this is my second time on the main card. Get your fucking back straight. But
good. I mean, you're 9-0, and you're a heavyweight, and your jiu-jitsu is amazing. Your wrestling's amazing. Your striking's amazing. You got this, bro. And now you're motivated. You have a kid. You have a beautiful wife. I don't know how you guys have sex. She's like 4'3". I mean, you guys should teach a course.
You met her. She's like 5'4", which is the size of an average woman.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just that big.
Yes, she's
never call your wife average, Steve. That was a terrible idea.
The average size woman.
Dude, so Tall Steve, by the way, which is an amazing nickname. Like, it's
Tall
like,
Steve fights people.
Love it. I love it. Thank you, McCorkle. Thank you, Tall Steve.
All right, man.
Thank you so much for having me. Good being on with you.
Good luck.
You're the best, bro. Take care.